count against your time, and we've already got our first lightning talk speaker. And
take it away.
Go ahead. That'll be your time.
All right. Hey, everybody. Oh, there he is right there.
Time stop.
Okay, cool. Hi, my name is Matthew. I work for Percona, and this is part of the talk that I gave earlier this morning on probabilistic data structures. So if you don't know what a probabilistic data structure is, how many of you are familiar with what a B tree is? How many of you are familiar with what an LSM is? Log structure merge trees. You guys need to go look up more computer science. Okay, so both of those are definite. So that if I stick data inside a B tree, I can go find that data and know yes or no 100% whether it's there or not, right? Because I can go find it. A probabilistic data structure is a little bit different. With a probabilistic data structure, I can ask, is this here? And the answer is going to be maybe or absolutely not. Okay, so those are the two differences in what you're going to get. Okay. With a probabilistic data structure, you're not actually storing the data. With like a B tree, you're storing the data, somebody's email address. I can get their email address. In a probabilistic data structure, I'm not going to store their actual email address. I'm going to store like a fingerprint or a bitmap or some kind of hash representing that data, and I'm going to store it in a compact format. Okay? I'm going to trade accuracy for efficiency. So when I want to ask something of like, hey, have I seen this before? Has this user signed up before? I could either dip inside some massive database, write some really slow SQL query or whatever, or I could ask a probabilistic data structure which can tell me definitively this is not here, or this might be here, or it might give me a true answer, but there's a margin for error. And that's part of the data structure. Okay? One that you've probably all heard from are Bloom filters. How many of you have heard of a Bloom filter? Yes? How many of you have heard of a cuckoo filter? Ha! Perfect. All right. How many of you have heard of hyperlog log? Oh, see, that's interesting. More people have heard of hyperlog log than cuckoo filters. All right. So I don't have time to do all those, so I'm just going to do Bloom. Bloom filters now with less allergies. No, that's a joke. All right. So my problem is, have I seen this before? Okay, I have a really simplistic example of like user signups. I could store email addresses, some type of token inside a database, right? And I'm asking the question, if somebody wants to come trying to sign up, or if that thing has appeared again, I could write some complicated SQL query, dive through all of this data, scan through a B tree, which is what, log in time or something. It's been a very long time since I've took computer science. I could do that, or I could use something like a Bloom filter. And a Bloom filter is going to give me an answer in constant time, so big O1 notation, so super fast, and it's going to be extremely tiny. Okay? Let me give you my better example over here. Ignore the stuff on top. I want to get to the example down here at the bottom. If I wanted to store 100 million 4-byte integers, I would need 381 megabytes of space just to store that data, right? If all I cared about was asking the question, have I seen this number before, I could do the same thing with a Bloom filter and only need 234.8 megabytes of space. And that would give me a 1% margin of error. So it would either say, I've never seen that number before, or it would say, yes, but there's a 1% chance that I'm wrong. Right? Does that make sense? Extrapolate that further. If I want to store a 147 character string, which is the length of the URL of this slide deck in Google Slides, 147 characters long, and I wanted to store 100 million of those, I would need 54 gigs. Or I could do the exact same thing with 234 megabytes of space. Doesn't matter how long my input string is. If all I want to know is, have I seen this before, I can do that with a Bloom filter and have an absolute no, never seen it, or a probability of false positive. Does that make sense? Okay, so think about in your head where this might be useful for you, and when 1 minute left, you can go grab Valky, and Bloom filters are a native data structure inside Valky, and you can do, where was my example? Stuff like this. So I can create a Bloom filter called emails. I want a 1% failure rate, or 1% false positive rate, and I want to store about 100,000 items. Storm. Ask the question, does this exist? It's a 1. It probably exists with a 1% error margin, or it absolutely does not exist. Yeah? Thank you for attending my TED Talk. And if you want to know more, like I said, I could talk to you about cuckoo filters as well. and also hyperlog logs.
Thanks a bunch. All right, let's give it up. I'm going to go ahead and give him applause. I think we got Alistair here as our next lightning talk. Like I said, this is going to go real quickly if y'all don't come up here. Yeah. Can always count on Major for a good talk. No slides?
No slides. I just came over to lunch while you and I were talking. All right. So my name is Major. I work for Red Hat, and I came up with the idea for this talk when I was talking with Carl earlier at lunch. So how many of y'all have ever thought about doing a technical talk, but you haven't ever done it? Like a technical talk, like going to a conference and delivering a talk on something that you care about. How many of y'all have actually done a technical talk before? Okay, so how many of y'all would say that the thing stopping you from doing it is because you don't know what you're going to talk about, or you're too nervous, or you're not sure how to do it? That's exactly how I was. So is Thomas Cameron in here? Okay, so Thomas Cameron and Dan Walsh inspired me to do talks, and over time I've gotten used to doing them. I'm still not the best at them, but I'm still working on it. And there's three things, if you want to get started, I think there's three things you have to think about. The first, when you go in to do a talk, you want to get people in the room to do something. So what I think about is I think that everybody that came in the room, like there's a table behind that wall back there, and everyone signed a contract to say they will do one of the things that I ask them to do. And so then I think about, okay, well, I'm going to ask people to do three things, and I'm going to expect that they're going to do one. And so you drive your whole presentation towards getting them to do one of those things. Maybe it's to try your product or contribute or do something like that. So that's one. The second part is you got to tell a story. Because how many times have you been in a talk and it's just a field of slides with someone reading them and you're like, man, yeah, I could have just, like, this is really good information, but I wish you just emailed it to me because I could have read it before I came to the talk and I could have clicked through it. So you got to tell people a story. So I tell people all the time, they say, well, I don't know how to turn it into a story. And I was like, well, you had a problem, right? And they're like, yeah. And then you did all this work, right? And they're like, yeah. And then it got better, right? And they're like, yeah. And I was like, that's a story. Tell it that way instead of filling up the slides with all the other stuff. And the third part is finding a way to calm yourself down before you go up on stage. So I will fully admit, I still have problems with this. So I was sitting over there fidgeting like crazy because Carl was like, get up there and do a talk. And I was like, I don't know if I can do a talk, shoot. So I'll tell you, I have flown around the world, I don't know how many times. Every time I get on a plane, I start sweating. Every single time. And I don't know how to fix it. I've been to doctors. I don't want to do medication or anything like that. But it's the same thing that you do before you get up and do a talk, is you get your body under control. And there's breathing techniques. There's all kinds of stuff that you can do. There's one thing that I do called 5x5, where you breathe in over a period of 5 seconds, hold it for 5 seconds, breathe out for 5 seconds, hold it for 5 seconds, and then you do it 5 times. So it's really easy to remember. It's really easy to do. And it's also easy to do with not anybody around you really even knowing what you're doing. And so I have a talk tomorrow, and you'll probably see me doing it right before then, but you might not even notice it. So those are the three things to do a good tech talk. And if you have questions or concerns or you want help building a talk, come find me later today or tomorrow.
Great, thank you so much. So that should have inspired at least one person to come up and get in line, right? Yeah, oh, perfect. All right, and then we have our next talk. I believe this is Alistair from Percona. We'll give him a second to get plugged in. Everybody's coming back tomorrow for the second day of the conference, right? Excellent. I know some people scheduling conflicts and they can't make it, but ready to go? No? Come on.
Oh no, you did the USB-C one, that one. The cable's pretty weak. Mine kept getting.
Okay. Well, let's try the HDMI then. I've got one of those.
That looks like it's working. And while I have y'all's attention, a reminder that there's an OpenStack birthday party tonight at Hop Squad from 6 to 8 p.m. There's info and a QR code inside your badge. Hope to see y'all there. There you go. Okay. 5 minutes. Yep.
Hi, I'm Alistair. I'm a technical evangelist from Pecona, and I'm one of those people who runs around with ready-made five-minute lightning talks on my laptop. What we're going to talk about today is reluctant users, that corner of any community for an open source piece of software who have come to it because it's what their job requires, rather than because they're particularly keen on it, and what it is that we can do to help them, what it is that we can do to try to move them into the happier piece of the community where they actually feel they're into it. So first, what is community? I recently moved from a pre-sales role into a community role, and this was one of the things that we were sort of talking about during my interview. So how does who I'm supposed to be working with now map to the people I used to work with, who were customers we were trying to sell support services to? So the first vision of community, which we'll often see in rooms like this, is the people who build it. So I first gave this lightning talk at pgconf.dev, which is a thing that happens in Canada every year around the people, mainly the people who build Postgres. So this majority of the room, yes, this isn't necessarily only the people who write the code, it's the people who build the community, etc., etc. It's a lightning talk, so we'll keep that definition short. We then have the people who use it. Now, this is not to scale, and for various communities, that little miss at the bottom there can be quite big. We have algorithm and data structures experts. We have people who are into compilers, into build chains, but aren't necessarily users of the thing we're building. And there's also a question around how people use it. We have people who build stuff on top of it. So a lot of Postgres' users are people who get content management systems and the like to play with it. My biggest area of open source contribution was in getting Drupal to play nicely with Postgres back sort of 15 years ago, before they changed their ORMs. If we had to sort of split this, we'd probably see that more of the people who build come from the user group who operate, rather than the people who build on top of the people who kind of are DBAs or sysads or the rest of it. And these are also things that we can abstract on both sides when we start trying to make it easier for people to adopt. And then there are the people who promote, and I think that's probably the best match for this audience. The people who feel some investment in an open source project. It says Linux down the front. It talks about adopters and community of open source software. And this is the other popular view of what the community for an open source project is. And the interesting bit for me is that little bit at the top there. That group who are not enthusiasts, the people who do not feel invested in the success of the project in any way, but who are still users. And this, I think, the fact that this group exists is a mark of success for any project. We see it in Postgres, where big companies are moving from Oracle to Postgres, and there are now ex-Oracle DBAs who are now being forced to learn this new weird elephant-shaped thing. We see it in Linux, people who are being forced to get rid of their HP UX, and now, what's this weird thing? So it is to some extent a mark of success. And it's not that people, that the members of this group don't see some benefits, but they also see a lot of change. So we need to help bring them along into that big yellow circle in a few ways. So the first thing is content. And the key thing about this content is it shouldn't be around comparisons. This is not why Linux is better than HP UX. This is analogies. You're familiar with it in this way. Here's what it looks like in our world. And ideally written by people with expertise on both sides of the story. We've all seen horrendous benchmarking stories for databases, for various operating system features, where clearly the people writing it were experts on one side of the fence and knew nothing on the other. The other thing that we can do, particularly for things above the operating system, is abstractions. For databases, rolling them out, setting up HA, all of those sort of things are really where it's very, very different between types of databases. So a little bit of automation there, like Kubernetes operators, can be great for that sort of work. And then for the developers, Thank you. Just a second under.
Alrighty, thanks so much. All right, I think we got one more in the queue there. Not quite ready? Come on, Robbie. Yes. And here's Robbie.
Thanks, Carl. Thank you. Alrighty. My name is Robbie. I work for an energy company based in Houston, Texas. And we run between 3,000 and 6,000 CentOS stream systems in our production environment. And I'm here to tell you, there's nothing to be afraid of. CentOS Stream just works. I can demonstrably prove this in my talk tomorrow at 3 p.m. in this very room. So if you would like to see what goes into the behind the scenes of CentOS Stream and making it work in a production environment, I'd appreciate if you'd come to the talk. Cue the music. Thank you.
It's a very short lightning talk. Anybody else? Yeah, perfect. All right, he's going to get plugged in real quick. Dave, no lightning talk? Come on. We're just going to start picking people in class. Yeah, Kevin, why aren't you in line?
Howdy. I'm Nicholas. I'm an infrastructure engineer. I wanted to show you, this is the editor I use. It's called Zed. It's cool. It's got a nice feature. It's got some similar features to VS Code, that sort of thing. The one I want to show you is very powerful. I love this feature. I will never, ever use another editor that doesn't have this feature. It exists in VS Code, and then there's a more powerful version in Zed. This happens to be the, nope, that's not right. This happens to be the source code for Prometheus, whatever. Suppose we need to make a change in here, like, let's say this package name was different, it changed or something. We need to change all the references to this package name. So there's like find and replace. I think if I click on this thing, I can do that, and maybe I need to, I don't know, let's change it to like GitLab. I don't know, as an example, right? And then, oh, I spelled it wrong, and so I got to do that. And there's some way I can say replace the next one and the next one. Terrible. This is very slow. I could do regexes. Regexes are very powerful, but I got to get them right. I can't see what's going to happen. The thing I want to show you is called multiple cursors. So in Zed and also in VS Code and others, you can hold down the Alt key and push arrows like the down, nope, sorry. Oh. Sorry, it's Shift Alt. You can hold down Shift Alt and use the arrow keys and you get another cursor. And you notice if I type, I get at that cursor. And the arrow keys work and the home button works. And if I hold down Control, I can go by words. That's kind of boring because it's all the same word. Let's say I wanted to rename this variable. I can also do Control D. It's different on a Mac. And I get another cursor at the next instance of that word. And if I keep going, and then I can do things like this. And I've typed right at both places. Yeah? Nice. And because you can scroll by words, right? Even if I pick some middle thing like this. If I wanted to change the whatever is before the word set in every place in this file. This is a terrible example, but you get the idea. I can go to the beginning of that line and then go to the line above and the end and back one character and select it and delete it. And I changed all those places. I don't do the regex thing anymore. I just do multiple cursors. Okay, and then, so this works in VS Code and Vim and probably Emacs and other places, but I haven't seen this feature anywhere else yet. And that is, if I do a project-wide search, let's find something to search for. This gives me all the places that the word metric name appears, and multiple cursors works here across files. Do you want to rename? Yeah, but everything's in a Git repo, so you can just git diff and see what happened. So we can change all those, and if I hit save, it saves across all the files, and the formatter that runs when I save runs across all the files. It's so nice. It's so nice. I don't use sed anymore. I don't use the find and replace. I just edit all the things at the same time. It's great.
All righty. Need a few more. Okay. We've got one coming up now. Plug on in. I believe you'll want to do this button here.
Yeah, you can mirror it.
And it's not up there yet.
That doesn't work. You can try with HDMI out directly.
That one worked for someone earlier.
Okay.
Probably preferred.
That looks like it might work. This does not work quickly enough, but I'm going to see my place in line and then switch to a different.
We need a lightning talk about display connections and why there's so many.
Mirror, that's the thing I want.
Try this HDMI. Is that working?
Mirror? No.
Here's another HDMI cable. That might be the one.
There's a shot.
Okay, stuff's on the screen. There we go.
Okay. No, I do not. All right, so
Here we go.
we're going to.
Okay. So we're going to talk through, and probably not demo through because it's lightning talk, introspecting your machine or machines with OS Query, which, yeah, it's a SQLite layer on top of a whole bunch of OS stuff, cross-platform, but there's the one platform we all care about, that you can query things, join things, etc., using SQLite flavor of SQL. And things like answering this query of joining files and of smaller enough. Of course, I inverted my slides at the last second, but let's see if I can. Perfect. It's that. So, yep. And so yeah, the idea here is that rather than throwing shell scripts at everything to figure out what information is on your machine, instead make a daemon do it and make that daemon have a watchdog in front of it to where if you do something screwy and chew up a whole bunch of CPU and RAM, then that process gets killed and you move on and don't make your machine unstable because you tried to list out every single file on the file system and expected that to return in a reasonable amount of time. So that's the slide that I was talking about that on. This was a recycle from DevOps Days Austin. There are a whole bunch of tables for this. whether that is hardware, software, auth and certificates, disk encryption, networking, firewalls, what's running, what's logging, bunch of file system stuff. And if you're running Docker or the like, just remember that you need to pipe a socket in order to actually get useful information over there. But this exposes a whole bunch of system APIs and files, etc., via SQL. And the keeps on going. Okay, and if you don't see a table in there, then if there's something on the file system that uses SQLite, then you can wrap it and it'll show up in OS query. And if that's still not enough, there's an Apache Thrift connector where you can build extensions and pipe additional information to OS query. The idea here is that it's generally going to be a thin layer around the information. It's not trying to paper over inconsistencies between multiple platforms. If you want to do that, you're going to need something higher level, like the place I work, but let's not get into that. And there are a couple of catches to this. For example, in some cases, you actually need to cross-join against other tables to get any data at all, or you have to provide a where clause because OS query would be like, that's going to crash your computer, don't do it. Likewise, you can still generate large queries that take up a whole bunch of CPU and RAM, potentially get deny listed by the watchdog, so you'll have to watch on that and potentially look at the underlying code to figure out whether the OS query implementation for a given table or virtual table is going to be slow or fast, and how to potentially make it fast by being picky about a where clause. There are a few ways to display results. OS query I, which is your kind of REPL for this. You can display things as table view, as line view, or you can spit it out as JSON and ingest it into another tool. And you can log these things out and push it to a centralized server if you are adminning more than, say, one host. This also has fun things on the threat hunting side. I believe a number of EDRs have OS query built in under the hood for things like, hey, there's this process that's just trying to evade detection. It doesn't have anything on disk. It's just in memory. It's trying to cover its tracks. You can do various queries like this to catch things like that. There's further information there, including sponsor chain guard. And with that, that's all I've got. Slides are listed there because that was a lightning tour. If you have questions about this sort of thing, I might know slightly more than I would like about OS query related stuff, come find me. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All righty. We got the next speaker already ready, queued up. He was using this one with HDMI if you have a port in that port. Getting all set up. Gonna have any last minute ones come up? I thought of a lightning talk while we were up here, so I'm gonna do one more too. And then we'll wrap up after that, I guess, unless nobody else gets in line. All ready? Here we go.
Hi, my name is Ignat. I work for Cloudflare. I do a lot of talks, but I never did a lightning talk before. So let's talk about passwords. What are the most passwords today? They have to be long enough to protect you from brute force attacks, right? They have to be quite complex to protect from dictionary attacks. I'm skipping all the slides here, they're just making time. So yeah, like enterprise passwords are very complex these days, right? So they contain doodles, letters, and sign language squirrel noises. So what do we do with it? Well, who uses here a password manager? Yay! Yes? So great, password managers do all this, end of the talk. Cool, right? But it's not that simple. So JavaScript strikes back, right? So you have these weird security people saying, like, oh, you have to implement your website that doesn't allow you paste passwords. Shit. And why is that? Like, well, some clipboard security concerns. Well, malware in your computer can intercept the information from clipboard as well. So that's a shit requirement. Also, these people think that passwords, they say brute force protections. They think like hackers will like brute force your passwords like that, and not using automated means, right? There is others, like compliance requirements. Some people say, oh, because it's our procedure. So, and most often, who had the usability problem? They can't paste a password on a web page. Cool, right? What you can do about it? Well, you can do this if you're using Firefox. You can stop emitting on copy on cut events and block these fancy JavaScript password blockers. That's not great because you kind of disable every other possible JavaScript functionality. Who uses the browser plugin which allows you to paste passwords? Not really great, because if you install it, so you will see Chrome will tell you, oh, by the way, this plugin can intercept all your traffic. So that's surely what could possibly go wrong here, right? If it's hijacked. So what do? What if like you make your operating system do it? So like you run your OS, it should do whatever is required. And the idea here is simple. So all these password blockers try to detect that you're typing passwords but not pasting the password. So they create this filter that like detect paste but allows you to type. So what if we let the operating system, we paste into the operating system and let the operating system type for us? So this is exactly an open source tool that I developed for this specific purpose. It works on Linux, Windows, and this is an old slide. It also works now on Mac OS, which saved my ass many times. You basically, it's a console app. You paste your password there. You put a cursor where you want to be typed, and the operating system will type it for you. So all this JavaScript can never detect it. This is a demo, which we don't have time to play. And I'll show you the last slide. The last link is linked to my GitHub with this tool if you want to try it. Thank you. Did I make it in time?
Thanks. If y'all bear with me just a minute, I'm going to get in line as well. Unless Beck's standing up in line to get in, do one? Okay. Sure, why not? See that. So I thought of this because at the Fedora booth we have this QR code, and a lot of people are asking what that's for. In Fedora we have a system called Fedora Badges. I like to summarize it and tell people it's the dumbest, funnest thing we do. It's just this fake internet points that don't even have points. They're just digital little artwork, and you get them assigned on your Fedora account. If you've ever seen like, some of the badges in GitHub or other systems like that, it's a similar thing. Just a collector thing, doesn't mean anything, but it's a fun way to encourage contributions to the project. So I was going to show you all some of those that are out there and exist. Event badges, I mentioned the one we have at the booth. That is a limited time only. You can only get that here at this event, and you'll never be able to get it again. Other ones that are really fun, doing package builds in Fedora, releasing updates, writing articles in the Fedora magazine, testing days. So here you can see the event for this badge, which I messed up and didn't print on the flyer that's on the booth, but that's what it looks like. You'll have that on your account. When you first create the account, you get a badge immediately just for logging into the badge system, so you start off ahead. You get another one for changing your password and uploading your GPG key and SSH key. So you can start off right off the bat with like 5 and feel like you're winning. Lots of different fun badges. There's badges for content, for events, engineering work, packaging work, development badges, all kinds of ones. Here's one here, a cute one here with 2 pandas, helping hand. You help build a package owned by somebody else. Here's one for 100 build failures. That means not that you're necessarily screwing up a lot, but you're just so active that you happen to hit 100 failed builds. This one here is cool. You can you committed to an end-of-life repository. I don't know how you would get that one, but it's a fun zombie badge. And I'm just going to spend the rest of the 5 minutes just talking about random badges. I don't really have anything else to say about it. It's a fun little system, and if you want to partake, just make a Fedora account, and we'll go. I wasn't gonna, but I can humble brag, I guess. Also, it's fun among Fedora contributors. We can compare and say, so what rank number are you, right? Like, I happen to be 17th all time out of about 50,000. Thank you. I wasn't going to show that, Ted, but you called me out on it. Some other fun ones. This one here, there was a special badge for when Fedora switched to using Btrfs by default, and it's just butter on a bunch of hard drives. I've got a 250 build failure, so I really screw stuff up. We have ones for doing updates in EPEL, which is part of the Fedora project, but another thing, if you want to know more, come to the booth and I'll tell you about it. What else? Do we do Q&A during lightning talks? I saw a hand go up. Seems complicated. Come ask me later. What's some other fun ones? RIP, you retired a package. This one, I like this one, the Partners in Crime, little Bonnie and Clyde car, where you added a co-maintainer to one of your packages in Fedora. I'll also note some of these badges are set up where they're automated, like when you create your account or change your password. Other ones are manually awarded. Some of them were automated at one point and it broke and nobody's gotten around to fixing it, like the Partners in Crime badge. That one's been broken for a long time and I don't know what we need to do to fix it, but ideally we'll have some kind of automation in place for criteria-based badges where you just do the action and it happens and you don't have to ask for it and you just surprise you have a new badge. Like I said, it doesn't matter at all for anything other than it's a fun little cute thing to do and collect. But, you know, people do Pokemon too, so it's the same thing. 1 minute, I'm done. I'm just going to keep showing different badges, so Beck, go on and come up. I'm done. There should be.
No slides, actually, surprisingly. And I was trying to break up the technical talk. That wasn't so much technical, so he threw me for a loop on that one. My name's Beck. I'm co-founder of Learn Open Tech with Adam back there, Adam Bark. We're a two-man team that does Linux and open source stuff. But I want to go back and make this a non-technical thing. I'm probably the least qualified person in this room, actually. Even though I love Linux and been using it for 15 plus years, I focus on the end user side of things, not the back end, not the programming side of things. My background's in education. I worked in higher education for about 20 years. And the funny story that happened to me, funny I guess, but I just want to throw this out there because I've never worked in enterprise. I've never worked on big projects like maybe some of you have. But I wanted to speak, and I was kind of encouraged to come up here and actually give the 5-minute speech, I guess. And that is what happened to me in higher education. I learned Linux, and you can come find me, and I'll give you my whole background story. I started using it in higher education, right? Taxpayers pay my salary. I'm finding solutions. I'm solving problems with Linux and open source in higher education. And to me, that was a wow factor. That was amazing for me to do that and see that, and for me to see how many doors it opened for myself. And through some other things that happened, I was told by higher ups to stop talking about Linux, stop talking about open source software for a publicly serving institution. I got to go to meet Linus Torvald at the Linux Con in Europe, and I went up to him and told him that story. I said, hey, you know what, I just want to let you know, I use Linux. Good job for making it. Thanks. They tried to fire me because I talked too much about it. And I realized my downside, I was so passionate about it, I just ran with the passion side of things. And so the reason why I wanted to get up here and give this spiel is knowing that that's what happened to me. And I was threatened multiple times that I talked too much about open source and Linux. Anytime they heard me talk about it, they thought I was bashing another piece of software. I was bashing this software, bashing that software. I might have done that a time or two, yeah. But by the time it got to this, was 6 months before I could even recall any other incident when that came up. So there were people who rubbed the wrong way because I was solving problems. And again, my background was in education or graphic design, video, media, and I never thought I was not going to be using Adobe products, but I weaned myself off of that using nothing but open source software. And the reason why I did that was, again, taxpayers paying my salary. I couldn't justify that using proprietary software. So if you couldn't do as good of me or better using open source software, you shouldn't be using proprietary software. So I try to raise the bar that high, to saying I'm not the best, I'm not a graphic artist or anything, but I just try to raise that bar to put up or shut up. And there are people, again, taxpayers paying their salary, telling me to stop talking about Linux, stop talking about open source software, and that did not sit well with me. I stood up for it and didn't get fired because he knew I had evidence in my corner on some other things he said, so I didn't mind standing up for that. But the reason why I got up here, I just wanted to encourage you and stuff we do, Learn Open Tech. We focus on some educational side of things. We focus on the business side of things, solving business solutions. But it's the learn side of things. You might be the best enterprise person in here, but I want to encourage you to find a way to bring this back to the younger generation, the next generation, the people who don't know anything about Linux or open source. Encourage them any way you can, right? You have an old machine sitting around collecting dust. Put Linux on there, go to the neighbor next door, go to your nieces, nephews, cousins, and give them a new computer. Put Linux on there, show them how to use it, show them cool software you can download. Say someday you can work on some enterprise software, but right now play with this, right? Make some graphics, make some notes, and that's what I did. I've done this a number of times, but just take donated computers. Somebody give me a donated computer, I'll go try to find somebody in the community that needs technology, and I will install Linux, and I'll tell them, hey, can I give you this computer? Yeah, fine, come drop it off tomorrow. I'm like, no. Give me a couple hours. You're gonna need a couple hours with me. We're going to sit for a couple hours. I'm going to teach you. So it's just your time. All it takes is a couple hours of your time. I'm going to give you this Linux box, show you all these cool tools. You can use it. And we did that. And little neighbor kid the other day, hey, look, we made some music. Little kids, I don't know, maybe they're second grade, I think. Hey, they made some music. They wanted me to hear it. They're so excited. I gave them a free tool. They can use it. It cost me $0 to do it. I went out and made them, software. And so guess what? Go do this to other people. Go teach other people how to do this. Go spread the word, right? This is free. It's open source. And that's the community. That's why I'm here. That's why I do what I do. That's why I'm passionate. That's why I got threatened with my job. I don't know how many times you get threatened with your job talking about Linux and open source. I got threatened with that job, and I didn't give them the middle finger, but I was close. So thank you very much. Go teach other people about Linux and open source.
Awesome. Well, we are over the scheduled time we did for Lightning Talks, and I don't see anyone else in line. I won't keep you any longer. I encourage you to go to the OpenStack party that starts at 6, just enough time to go drop a bag in a room, and we hope to see all y'all here tomorrow for our keynote starts here at 9, and then the regular talks and at the expo floor open up at 10.